survival series. And if you don't know who I am, I'm MechanizedIT. And yeah, this is my survival world. I've already been playing, obviously. I'm not going to start from scratch for you guys, sorry. If you saw my last video, this is my brick layer. It's basically an automated building machine using the new projector block, which is amazing. I love it. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm building. What does it look like? Anybody know? Anybody at all? It is the Red Dwarf, which is a ship that is in a comedy series. It's a British comedy that it originally started in the 80s and it ran through the 90s, and they recently did another season of it. It's one of my favorite British comedy, sci-fi, whatever you want to call it, series. It's got like nine or 10 seasons. I definitely recommend you going on Netflix and checking it out. So yeah, here I am in my brick layer. I'm going to start it up. If you don't know what this is, like I said, I made a video of this, and you can go look at that. It basically builds a 3x3 platform, and it just goes on and on and on until you stop it. I put a sensor on this, on the front of this, and it should stop. You see that red box at the bottom left? That is the sensor field. And when it runs into the end of this frame, it will stop. Okay, so to turn it on, I'm just going to start at the first timer. And there it goes. And I'm going to let that run while I show you guys around my survival world. Like I said, I've been playing this survival world for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. And I initially started it in single player on my computer, and it quickly got too much for it to handle. So right now I am on a server that I recently rented, and hopefully it will keep my game running with this huge ship that I'm building. It's got about 8 asteroids. The skybox is a Jupiter skybox. I'll put a link in the description if you want to use it. And the reason I am using it is because in the Red Dwarf series, this is basically a giant mining ship, and it's owned and ran by the Jupiter Mining Corporation. So that is why I have the Jupiter planet and skybox. So yeah, I mean, I kind of think of this as if you want to do a little bit of role playing, this is sort of before the series. So this is like Jupiter Mining Corporation is out in space, and we're engineering the Red Dwarf, getting it ready to set sail on its maiden voyage. And so yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to see if I can actually make it do some mining with this rotor here. This is a giant rotor. I'm not sure what the name of the mod is. It's got a 3x3 walk space in the middle of it. Basically, if you look at the Red Dwarf pictures of it, the front of it has this weird configuration of prongs that stick out with like wires connecting them, and basically I'm going to turn that into my mining rig. I'm not going to use just a solid wall of drills like some people do. Instead, I'm going to put like maybe a cross of drills, and I have it on this rotor so that it can turn. And I will try to set up some sensors and see if I can't get it to automatically just push through an asteroid and mine, maybe a large one like that. I might be able to mine the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to get the whole thing that big, but if it was as wide as the ship is, I know it's 200 blocks long from that point to the rear. I'm not sure, 75 blocks wide. So it's like a 1/20th scale replica of the actual red dwarf. In the series, I think the ship is 10 kilometers long and like 6 kilometers high by 4.5 kilometers wide, something like that. But it's basically just a hexagon, is that right? Six-sided thing, and it's kind of got this flat bit on the side, so it's not a perfect hexagon. But I did use that instead of trying to make it the exact dimensions. I just tried to make a hexagon. A hexagon has like, oh, the angle's like 120. Every angle is 120, and I'm using these what do you call them? These ramp blocks by Uncle STE, Uncle Steve, which makes some great blocks in his ramp blocks mod. But I don't want to put the whole entire side of this wall in these ramp blocks because it's a nice texture, but it'll repeat way too much. So what I'm actually going to do, and while I'm back here, we'll just look at the take a gander here at these Leviathan thrusters by Emperor Shard, I believe. And they are incredibly powerful, and I cannot get too close to the rear because they will incinerate me. I also have the Titan engines. These are temporarily just sitting here so that the ship doesn't fly away. I had to turn it into a ship. It was a station at first. I wanted to leave it as a station while I built it, but for a number of various reasons I was way too close to that asteroid and it was laggy, so I turned it into a ship and moved it back. And then I merged it back to a station, and ooh, yeah, looks like that is not going as planned. I've had problems ever since I got on this server with this automated brick layer. Every time I get out of the cockpit, it just starts shaking. If it's merged to the ship, it's very shaky, and it's not really like that in single player, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this that well. Which isn't that big of a deal because I do have a different version in mind, a better version, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just turn it off so it will quit just pumping out platforms and sending them into space. So I gotta get in. I'll turn all the timers off and turn the grinders off, turn the welders off, and that should stop it. We'll just, who cares about the little bit of floating bits. I'll come back and delete those. They won't go far. Delete them. I'll remove them with my grinder. Let's see, I'm getting really sidetracked. There's a lot to show you guys here. Okay, so yeah, that's a problem. I'll have to come back to that. It works perfectly in single player and in creative, and it was doing a good job until like I said, I uploaded this today actually to the server, and as soon as I uploaded it, the ship just started shaking, and like it got all cocked like this, like it is now, and then it messed up and started doing this. I had to correct it once already. But anyway, let's move on. So instead of using the ramps on the entire side, this side, and obviously that side, and the bottom right and the bottom left, I'm using rotors to make an artificial, or I don't know, not artificial, what do you call it? Like a fake wall. It's not actually connected directly to the ship. It's connected through these rotors. There's one here and one up there. And the difficult part was getting the right points for these rotors to connect to this this grid here. What I did is I put one rotor down, I put a block on it, and I turned it 27 degrees, I think it is. is what these ramps are, to match the angle of the ramps. So this is actually just regular armor blocks. You can see there's some ramps there. Kind of made this truss design, and that way it'll allow me to build some stuff off of this wall. Also, if you look at the ship in the series, there's all kinds of buildings and radars and all kinds of crap coming off the sides. So instead of just having a flat wall, eventually I'll come back after I fill in all the walls and start adding some details to the side. And here I was just playing around with putting up some wall, or what the floors might look like. I think they're like 5 blocks in between each floor. I might do some floors that I have 2 blocks between, so and some that are 5, and I haven't got all the interior figured out yet, which is why I'm kind of interested to see what anybody else has to say, because I'm not really great at planning this stuff out. Right now I just have my storage right here, and a bunch of I don't have any regular refineries. All these refineries are the special refineries, I think it's called, special production refineries. They each do a specific ore, like uranium and stone and all that kind of stuff, platinum and gold. So instead of using regular refiners, I think I like this better because I can control the flow of materials. And then right here I have my assemblers. I have like 6, these are mega containers, 5x5 containers, and I think they have like 10 million capacity, I believe. So I have 6 right now, and most of them are empty. If you see up here, this is the original spawn ship that I spawned in. And I have it set to delete spawn ships, but I think I changed it enough that for some reason it didn't get deleted. So I think I put initially, when I started this world, I threw some drills on it, and yeah, that might have. But as you can see, I haven't played multiplayer very much, and I guess this must be a problem with connectors and ships and merge blocks and merging 2 ships together, just like the landing gears are kind of bugged too, aren't they? So you can see it's trying to, it's just shaking and it's trying to correct itself, which is kind of bugs me. I kind of want to go back to single player, but you can see how laggy it is right now. I'm just rendering the game, and the server is handling most of the other stuff, which is definitely running better. But yeah, when I try to play in single player, it's about twice as bad. What else? What else haven't I showed you guys? There's a Titan engine down there for the forward thruster, and those are all kind of temporary. Like I said, I don't have all this planned out. I think my processing and storage will all be in the front, and towards the middle, I think I'll try to do some of the replications of some of the crew quarters from the show, the bridge, the mess hall, and all that baloney. And then towards the back, I think I'll have probably more storage. I'm guessing most of the ship would probably be storage because it is a mining ship. And so, you know, it has, I don't remember what the crew is. It's like 2,000 or 6,000. It changes throughout the series from season to season. And, yeah, but yeah, I'm guessing that you'd want to have as much storage as possible if your main purpose is to be a mining ship. This is my biggest miner, and it's not very big. It's a large ship. But I didn't use very many drills because, like I said, this was on my computer in single player, and I'm running a MacBook Pro 2011, and it's not a bad laptop. Don't get me wrong. I mean, a lot of people hate Mac. I'm kind of indifferent. I like it. I liked it since I bought it. I also have a PC, which is a Toshiba. I've had an HP, and I've had lots of different computers. And this is by far the best laptop I've ever owned. I mean, it's incredibly sturdy, well built. Its specs aren't as good as the Windows or the Dell or Toshiba laptop I have, but it runs a lot better. It just has Intel graphics, which you can tell it's terrible. It's got about 8 gigs of RAM because I upgraded it from 4. Anyway, this chip, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drills. That was lagging out my computer in single player quite a bit. So I didn't want to go any bigger than that. And these are heavy drills. They're not super heavy drills, but they're heavy drills, and they do a pretty good job. I go about 2 meters per second is all I like to take it, so I don't blow any of the drills up. And I've done quite a bit of drilling over there on that asteroid. This is also a custom map. I forget what it is called, but it does have 8 asteroids, and they're kind of like spread out like the corners of a cube, I guess you could say. I'm not sure the exact size of this map. I think it's like 40,000 kilometers. 40 kilometers, I mean. So yeah, this is my survival world. I definitely need to do some more mining. I'm out of platinum. I got a lot of iron, a lot of plates made, so I can do a lot of building, but I got a lot to go. So yeah, I guess I just want to know from you guys if you want to mention any ideas you have for filling this thing. Maybe a layout plan, because I am horrible at laying stuff out, and it never looks very good. I'd definitely be interested in what anybody else has to say. And like I said, it's on a server if anybody wants to come on, and if you want to start your own base or your own ship and do that, I'm fine with that. And if anybody wants to come and help me build, I'm fine with that also. So I'm going to go over here because that bricklayer is good and it does its job. It's obviously having trouble right now on the server, but I don't think it's a design flaw. I think some bugs are going on with, I don't know, pistons, rotors, merge blocks, that kind of stuff. And so I started a different design for a bricklayer. So it's going to be the bricklayer Mark II. Basically, when I first had the idea of making an automated builder to fill in this frame, my main goal when I first did it was so I could fill in this frame without having to lay every single block by hand. So the first design I had was similar to this, and the difference is, if you saw my last video, and I can go over there and show you in a minute, but okay, this here is going to be the main ship, and the merge block is going to be directly on the main ship, which is the grid, the main grid. When I mean main grid, I mean it's not at the end of a rotor or at the end of a piston. Whenever you put blocks at the end of a piston or the end of a rotor, it becomes a new separate grid. Okay, which is the way I have the merge blocks over there. The way it inches along, it has the merge blocks on the end of pistons, and the main part of the ship never actually gets merged with this ship. So, but it makes it much more difficult to do it that way, and I had to do it that way because when I first tried to do this, where the projector is on this main grid, and the welders have to be on a separate grid, so I have to put them on rotors. Otherwise, it's like if you put a welder onto the same grid as what you were welding on, like it won't weld it and it won't grind it. So grinders and welders have to be separated somehow from the main ship. But this version would allow for the projection to be projected directly onto the red dwarf. As we're over there, it's projected onto the main part of this ship, but not the ship underneath, so that whenever it finishes the little platform, it has to grind away a block and then push the platform and merge it onto the main ship, which leaves a lot of room for error, of course, as you can see from these blocks flying away. This will be pretty much foolproof because it's projecting it. It'll project it directly onto the red dwarf ship and then weld it, and it's in place. And then when that happens and it's welded the the new platform and it's ready to be moved forward, what will happen is this piston up here, and there's one on the other side. I'm going to make this like 9 blocks wide. But this piston and this merge block here will merge back here, and then this one here will turn off, and the piston, it'll be retracted at that point. It will extend, pushing the main part of the ship forward, while the end of it will be attached to this, so it'll push the main part of the ship forward. And up here it'll be 3 blocks out from this frame. It'll be 1, 2, 3, and right here will be another merge block, so when it pushes the ship all the way over here, this merge block will merge with the new merge block, and at that point this one will turn off that is connected to this, and the piston will retract again, so it inches itself along. And okay, so the reason I didn't initially build it this way, well, I did build it this way, but there was a bug that whenever you merge or unmerge from another ship and the projector is on that same ship that was merged or unmerged, then the hologram would disappear as soon as it merged or unmerged. So, and there's no way to automatically call up the blueprint again. Once the projector stops projecting, you have to go into the settings, go to blueprints, and select the blueprint that you were using before. And there was no way to automatically do that, so I kind of, at that point, I was like, well, I don't think I can do it. And so I submitted a bug report, and I went on and figured out, well, I could do it this way, and that's why I did it that way. And recently I saw there was a hot fix, and I guess they fixed it. So it says in the notes that fixed projector not persisting when merging and unmerging. So, you know, putting the merge blocks out here at the end of the rotor on a different grid, like is over on that ship, solved the problem, because the main ship that the projector was on never merged and unmerged. Okay, so long story over. Hopefully you understand what I was saying. And I'm going to work on this ship. Probably not in this video because it's getting a little bit long. I want to keep these videos to about 10 to 15 minutes. But I'm going to do some building in my videos. I'm going to try to build interesting stuff like this, like automated builders. I want to build an automated mining ship, of course. And what else did I want to build? I wanted to build, of course, the main ship. Excuse me. And oh yeah, I wanted to build some, like, I have a remote welder down there. I wanted to build some like drones, welding drones, somehow that would, like, suppose I have like an interior room, and I've just put in my hand and I just stick I just stick a little drone in there, and it's like a little one of those little robots that just run around your house and vacuum. And that's kind of the idea with that. I want to do fun stuff like that, because this game, my end goal was to build machines that do things, and as much as I can automate them or leave them to their own vice, the the more interested I am in them. I, you know, and of course, I've never been much of a builder in games. I played Minecraft for a little while, and I wasn't as much interested in building cool things like giant castles and stuff like that. But always liked some of the mods where you could, go and design something and make it efficient and bring in as much materials as you could and store as much as you could and automate things like with I don't even remember what they're called now. It's been so long since I played Minecraft, but yeah, that's what I like. And I was especially excited when the projector came out. Um, although I have to say now that the projector is out, it's not exactly how I thought it would work. Okay, so let me show you. I thought the projector would be, like a person, like a player, and be able to project onto a grid like this, like in front of it. So like, how when you copy and paste something and you come up to another grid and paste it onto that, it snaps to it, right? So it's out there in front, like the projector would have the blueprints out in front of it, and you could fly up and it would snap to the grid in front of it. And the reason I thought that would be the way it would happen is because like maybe you could go into the settings and specify just one kind of block. Like say you want the projector just to project an armor block onto the surface in front of it, and then you would have welders that would weld it. I'm gonna die if I don't get some energy. Yeah, that's kind of how I thought it would work. I'm more than happy the way it works now. I just, had my own thoughts, and I guess it works well either way, except for my way. I kind of imagine like an assembly line with whole bunches of projectors that just projecting one block, and so when a ship would come by, it would be, computer controlled, like, and it would place it in a certain spot, just the one block, like a thruster here, and then there would be an arm with a welder on it, and you could weld that, and it would go by, and, that kind of thing. This is a little bit overpowered in my opinion, the current projector, just uh, because you can go into creative and build massive ships and then bring them in and then just run welders over them, and bam, you got it. I mean, I understand though. I absolutely understand how cool it is to be able to bring in those ships, and because you have the plan right there in front of you, and you don't have to tab out of the game and look at a design and figure out where this goes or that goes if it's a really big complicated ship. So I'm happy with it. I can't say anything bad about it. Just thought I would voice what my thoughts were on it, as if they mattered, right? Okay, so I'm gonna probably end it right here, and I'm gonna go run around and grind some of these little platform blocks that are floating all over the place. And I'll probably park that and be done with it because it's obviously not working that well. And I'll work on this one in the next video, because this one I think will not have that issue, even if it's shaky. Like I said, this one it builds a platform, it disconnects the platform, and at some point the platform is just floating in free space, and so it can float off. And this one will build a platform right onto the ship and weld it right to the ship, so I think it'll be more reliable. So that's that, guys. Like I said, this is my first episode of this survival series, and I know I'm not starting at the very, very beginning with just a respawn ship, but that stuff's kind of boring anyway, right? And I'm not the best commentary, so let's just let my work speak for itself. If you enjoy it, let me know if you want to see more. If you want to see me work on that, I'm open to suggestions. You know, when I first started doing YouTube, I kind of did it for myself just to extend my gameplay. And I was happy that anybody would want to subscribe or see any of my videos, and I still am. But, you know, most of all, I do it for myself. I'll be honest, just to extend my gameplay. But, you know, if you guys want to challenge me, I definitely would. I enjoy challenges, you know. I like giving other people challenges as well. Like, say, hey, build a ship that automatically builds a platform off into infinity, like I did here, or build an automated miner that comes back and docks to the ship, or you know, all that kind of stuff. So if you have a challenge or you have any ideas about the interior of this ship, or if you have criticisms, that's fine too. I don't, my feelings won't get hurt. If you want to troll me, go ahead and troll me, man. I'm up for it. And if you want to come on and play, I have 8 slots on the server. I got one guy that comes on every once in a while, and I don't know if he'll be on or not, but if anybody wants to come on, let me know. Alright guys, I will leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.